shift the core of thought, if our faith is set in solid stone and truth supremely sought. So be the change you wish to see if no one else will rise, though hard to fight when courage is perceived to be unwise. Though everyone you see may gladly walk another way, it is your job to plant your feet and be the one to stay. Blind and silent faces pass, they turn and walk amiss, for what we do not see ourselves is deemed to not exist.
It took her 3 years to find love at the front of a classroom. It was my 8th grade year when I found my match in a teacher. When I met her, I was all rough edges and brilliance. She was short-statured with tall confidence. I had a voice like a megaphone, her words like swords and iron, my presence like thunder in a small space. I wondered who she was and how she got here. The first day I introduced self to her, I say, "Miss, we gonna have problems." She checked her ego, her privilege, her overly official teacher badge and said, "No, we won't." Who does she think she was? We met in a classroom mandated by standardized objectives like students will be able to identify the purpose of a nonfiction passage. She taught me to write with a purpose because my purpose was to write about my rights. I taught her to hold on to her purpose in the classroom, not to leave too early or quit too soon. Students will be able to write a personal narrative. From her, I learned to write a personal narrative, but more importantly, I learned to narrate my personal story. For me, she learned teaching is no cornerstone. For me, she learned teaching is no stepping stone, no next step up. It's not as fleeting as a 2-year commitment may seem, but it is a cornerstone of our personal narrative. We learn to outlive the standards that attempt to objectify young, Black, gifted teachers and students like us. So we wrote poetry between the bar graphs of our classroom data, changed the status quo like students will be able to know. Soar with big, awesome thoughts. Not only did she teach me to soar, she taught me how to send my barbaric yap over the roofs of the world. I never knew what love is patient, love is kind meant until I sat in her class and watched her abuse the polluted air, calmly breathing in and out, patiently awaiting the right answer from her students. She didn't know what passion teaching was until she saw me take her lesson and run with it, rewrite it, and use it to inspire her. This only happened because she stayed. These diverse, resilient teachers have impacts that rattle stereotypes and cage limitations. This work won't be done in 2 years' time. It won't be finished, not even in 5. This work is everlasting.
They say Indiana is boring. There's nothing to do here, but I disagree. So many sights to see, presences in every middle school, haints in the high schools, daemons over restaurants and alleyways and streets and back roads, race with me wherever I travel. Summers in the 317 looked like the Jiggle 8 and people playing pickup basketball in the Castleton Mall, but now another homicide has turned Haven into haunted historical site. 13-year-old Belzer student, Matthew McGee, and his friends jumped this kid they had beef with in front of the Castleton AMC and C. Every time I'm around that theater now, I'm on sacred ground where the kid they jumped got up and ran in and got his friends out of the same movie I would have been sitting in had my mother not had a premonition that halted my plans. And the group of boys ran back outside and chased Matthew and his friends straight ahead to Long John Silver's site where Matthew would wind up dead. And the boys brawled in slow motion until one boy with a name unspoken in a split second reached for his weapon, wrapped his finger around the trigger, and bang! Another Black boy felon before 15. Another Black boy fallen before he was old enough to vote. Another Black boy made murderer before he could make it out of Indiana. Another Black boy dead. And I keep replaying the scene over and over in my head. Pause. Is it against slam rules to stop comparing Indiana to ghost town or historical site for a second and just be raw? Because I still don't know how to handle the fact that a boy my age I thought was cute and added on Snapchat never got a chance to add me back, and the fact that a movie theater I went to all the time will never be the same. And I was almost there that night, but my plans changed. And the Belzer Middle School that I'm in all the time and drive by every day, I can't even look at without thinking of his name. Matthew McGee, who no poem will ever bring back. who no matter what stage I'm on, he'll never see me perform. Matthew McGee, who could have easily been one of my cousins or my brother, and I can't wrap my mind around what kind of metaphor would do Matt justice. No kind of metaphor will do Matt justice. In a split second, Naptown turned ghost town. Worlds turned upside down. M's up, guns down right now for Matthew. We have to make it better for boys like Matthew. Fix the system that failed Matthew, the bright-foot baby who deserves so much more than just a poem. They say Indiana is boring. He deserves so much more, but now everywhere I go here, there's something to do and someone to do it for.
How to fix a broken system. Step 1, deny there were ever errors. Blame it on someone not conveying the message well. Swear that it was just a bad game of telephone, that the wires got cut, the connection is poor. Step 2, never fix it. Put on everyone else except who caused it, except who created these issues in the first place. Silence the silenced. Tell us our voices don't matter. Remind us that they never really did. Call us hateful when we mostly fight with peace. Frame us in the crossfire as violent, malevolent animals that you dehumanized us to be. Step 3, attempt to fix it. You will grow tired of their moans and groans, so try, at least try. Even if you only give 78% out of 100 of trying, or 55%, just give any percent of trying except 100 because you don't want to give the illusion that you actually care. Step 4, don't attack when trying to bring up the flaws. Make them as comfortable as they need it to be for them to finally kind of listen to what they did and continue to do. Make them want to listen to what they did and do wrong. Before I go any further, I would like to say I'm not here to blame you, but I am here to hold you accountable. Comfortability is key. Step 5. Watering down what you really want to say sucks, doesn't it? Imagine doing it in a room full of people who have power over you. Land of freedoms and equalities is a dream deferred. The dream that died showing us the afterlife is a myth. Step 6. Make an attempt to give updates. Example, until further notice, her death will have been declared a suicide despite all contrary evidence. Until further notice, everything you've been told was fixed, we're getting better, it was a lie. Until further notice, these institutions created against us will always be against us. Step 6. Don't hold your breath waiting for change to come, then complain you can't breathe. Just wait for them to choke hope out of you. Don't reach for the sky, then complain your wound hurts after extending your arm too far. Don't try to make yourself a target. Stay still. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just watch, sit back, relax. It should all be over soon, until further notice.
Fear not, citizens. The hero with color, Melanin Man, is here. Rubbing the M squared on my chest with the sun on the back, let my melanin radiate, blinding the demons of the past that so frequently haunt us. All of those trials and tribulations we endured as a people, I am their savior. Saving the melanin that is a target, no citizen shall be wrapped in the tentacles of terror again. I will make it my mission. I have no secret identity. The heroic face you see is the true me. I am a black man, structurally sophisticated like a man in black. But I'm not hunting down aliens, I'm aiming to be radiant while placed on display, i.e. an athlete kneeling in a stadium. Living in a world enveloped in a dark age like my bulletproof skin, darkened and aged. Life is like a comic book. And every page I flip has its own invisible ink-written agenda. The panels are stripping themselves of their content, making the third eye content. For this unseen enemy, I have no comment, except one. After the actions of the first that burst, this earth that birthed humans was then cursed. Lying in its hearse, who watches his condition grows worse. The violence in the streets fails to nurse the pain that seeps deep into this planet's pores. So at the core of the situation, I will stand above any nation because borders won't help me achieve becoming the savior of damnation. Salvation is the only tier I'm aiming to achieve and accomplish. I wish to abolish the shackled thoughts of doubt and astonish those who have counted the culture out. I will not bear witness to the sicknesses of racism, sexism, classism, fascism, communism, irrational, invaluable, and impractical national practices negatively impacting the massive masses. It's too much. And no one is doing enough, ignoring the cries of damsels when the going gets tough. I have to turn the tides of this war. And I will stop at nothing, the villain shall tremble. I hope you're ready, cultures assemble. What we need now is a hero. I need to be the parasite to distress, the syringe of safety, the antidote to hatred, the agent of change. Or maybe I need to change. It's strange. You never know your purpose until you feel estranged when your objective is no longer in range. That retrospective feeling of guilt is built up. This causes the balance in your life to tilt and wilt. So no, I will never change. I will never quit, because as a hero, you must always get back up, whether it's a physical or mental hit. Melanin Man is here to save the weak and old, strong and bold. I will give the people a pillar of strength to hold. I aspire to inspire until the day I retire, the day I expire. But those behind me will have a sun to guide them. This will be their stem, their gem. I want to build and change the world to have a worthwhile end. Melanin Man out.
We say we're too fat and our skin isn't the right tone. No one wants to be our friend and we're always left alone. We let people control our minds. We let them steal our happiness from behind. We convince ourselves that we'll never be anything, when we really know that we could be anything that we put our minds to. But we let the negative people fill us up with negative energy, convincing us to be something that we shouldn't be. Let's change the way that we think, and it's not too late to start. First, close your eyes. Now follow your heart.
That's okay.
Don't let people control your mind. Don't let them steal your happiness from behind. Stand up for who you are. You're beautiful. Don't worry about your skin. Don't wish you were 10 shades lighter or even brighter, because you're perfect the way you are. Hey you, yes, the one who's afraid to realize who you really are. You think to yourself, well, maybe if my skin was a little lighter or my hair wasn't so nappy, then I'll fit in. No, that's not true. Never change who you are for someone to notice you. Hey you, yes, the one with the pretty smile, but you don't know it because you never show it. You don't need to be slim thick to think you're beautiful. You don't need all the new clothes and shoes for attention. God made you who you are for a reason. Now open your eyes and realize that you're beautiful. Wanting to be someone else is the waste of the person that you are. Stop trying to be someone you're not and look up at the stars, not down at your feet. Let's come together as one and change the way we think. Be unique, be you.
Tonight, a boy died, strangled out until I stopped seeing him in the mirror. You said you could love my scars right, but you ended up kissing more bruises onto my skin, blooming blood from unfamiliar places. Hunger wraps me sarcophagus-style suffocating in his arms, tells fool he's not welcome here. You said you could love me. I ate again so there would be more of me to love. I know it wasn't you who led me to the fridge that night, but maybe it was you who led me back to my room with a knife to feed my skin. Whether I stabbed myself or was cut, I still bled out the weight. Turned my body into a mausoleum. I'm not messed up. I just don't fit in this body the right way. I'm so big, my skin is loose. So small, I have stretch marks when my demons try to escape. I just want to fit in the picture perfect. I am a mighty dysmorphic Power Ranger. Watch me transform this belly into a cave, into more nothing. He comes home late at night. I don't know where he's been. But when he comes close, sending shivers down my spine and chills to my cuts, I swear I can smell the other broken boys lingering on his breath. I did it again, cheated with the food. You call me a black hole, so say I know what it is to be space, feel something like taking up too much of myself, say no matter how many oceans I swallow, I'm still thirsty. You get angry, make my belly shake. I scrape at the aftertaste in the back of my throat because even that adds weight. You drive through me with a broken plate, the gaunt hands that once caressed my face, now caressing my dying body. Hunger. I thought you loved me. I know you didn't do this on purpose. This is not what loving me to death means. Maybe this is your way of saving me from the rest of the world. When this body is laid to rest in Gia, stomach cut open showing the empty I ate for breakfast, you won't know if this was a murder or a suicide. I know it was both. Killed a boy to make the tremors in my stomach shut up. Killed myself because I was so tired of hunger sneaking into my body on the late nights. Yet I contemplate one thing as I die. If I should have starved myself so I could fit in the casket, or if I should have eaten more so somebody would know I was here.
Wow.
The lighter is my trigger. I load my gun and swallow the bullet straight to my lungs. With every drag and hit I take, my thoughtless mind will come awake. No more people leaving. No more voices crying, just the sound of your coughing and heaving, the fin of your body flying. I used to be a prime example of a perfect child. I had perfect ways, perfect grades, perfect smile, a perfect style, until I took that hit. Now I can't quit. Just let me get this one last hit in. Nobody sees, nobody knows. The drugs are a secret, I can't be exposed. I couldn't handle the pressure of the world, so I found an escape. Drugs are my superhero and it comes with a cape. Drugs is taking me over, but there's a voice in my head saying, come on, just take one last hit. Now I'm wondering why I did this. Drugs might be your nightmare, but to us, drugs are a dream. We do these drugs to change our reality because reality ain't what it seems. Why do I think putting this needle in my vein is going to take away the pain? Avoiding my issues won't make them go away. They'll still be there in my high. It fades the next day because I'm not happy. Does that make it okay? Weed was a gateway drug for me. That came Sherm, X, PCP, heroin, cocaine, and ecstasy. My high came fast without any pain, but your one sunny day would soon become rain. They tell you you're crazy, but you'll think you're insane. They say we're not living, so I guess we're dying. And if we're not, we're surely trying. 22.7% of teens has used pot in the last month. Think about your life before you smoke that blunt. Trying to pleasure your friends, but they know it's a stunt. Quit chasing these drugs. This ain't no scavenger hunt. You crush up the pills, you start to snore, but in your brain you should be thinking, mission abort. Praying to the Lord to get his support. So you still think you want to be an addict? Your bad brain cells is a little bit static. You got two paths. One you live, the other one will shorten your days.
Behind my line of life, I was never used to leaving everything behind. Stressing of the first day of school, reviewing it in my mind. But I never thought that a bus driver would be the one to be kind. I never really spoke for the first few weeks, but when I did, she said hello, as if we never stopped speaking. My dark and heavy days covered my sunshine, but when I stepped on that bus, it was as if I had met joy for the first time. Giving me day-to-day advice never seemed to tire you. And always asking me how my day was, even though you could see it in my face, never bothered you. I had found a friend. But even though I knew one day we would have to end, still I found a friend. Your smile had written 1,000 letters to the friends you've met over the years, but that 1978 Minolta XII camera that you bought me caught the face of a person who had written over 1 million poems to the lovely faces she'd had seen. Opportunity, a new outlook, a friendly face, open ears, and an amazing camera were only a first few of the many supporting things that you have given me. You taught me to remain humble and to not make things so dramatic. I became a gentler human being by both the patience and the kindness of you. You tell a life story in just a 15-minute bus ride home. I'm getting a little emotional, y'all. I'm sorry. And it intrigues me. Life stories of a widow, a mother, a grandmother, and a best friend. I have so much respect for you. I can never neglect you. And I always make sure that ununderstanding kids never disrespect you. And I am writing this to a person with over-deserving recognition. And I hope you remember the conversations we had in just such a short time, because I know I'll never forget the laughs we had. That's it.
I remember the days when if you poured water into an apple, you'd become fruitful. But now if you pour water into an apple, you'll become fruitless. I watch and I see. I write on this iPad and I listen to an iPod, but I have no more ideas. Like Aaron Burr, we burn these words in our core. Talk less, smile more. We talk less and we profile more. Let our profile smile with 1,703 followers, but only 3 real friends. Let our comments do our talking. Our pictures do the walking, but we keep stalking. I remember when we told time, and now time tells us. Beep, meet with Steve at 4:30. Beep, today's your anniversary. Beep, today's your birthday. Beep, today you die. Until we plug ourselves back into the back end of the internet. Enter the net, made up of infinite pictures, videos, and websites, but a finite number of servers. Serve less, distress, power out, get out while you can. Hang on to the branches of Macintosh. Be careful letting go. You might face plant into Facebook and become faceless. Health.com diagnosed you with a viral virus, but you can't infect us if we quarantine you behind a firewall, fireball. Why see the one outside when you can see 1080 by 720 inside, so my insides are burning? I phone a doctor. I have the eye fever. He prescribes water and fruit, but if I have water, will I not become fruitless? I sink into this dark nest. I was once powerful, now I'm powerless. I was wireless, now I'm wired up, I am tied up. You open up web pages and inadvertently divert to an invert into your hotel of no-show and no-tell. How will you tell today? Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Vine, Pinterest, or FaceTime. No time for family, fun, friend, or foods. Only time for internet free dumb. You must be dumb to think you're free, because we went from rags to riches only to be rechained. We started, rebuilt, renewed, rebooted, redone, remade, reused, and revised. Must I refrain from erasing the mainframe so they can maintain these brain games and control us with the reins of an internet empire? I think not. So I ask, when will we re-upload ourselves into the real world? When will we be reborn into something just a little more? When will we close Microsoft's windows and open our own just to look outside again? When will we become human again and add to the few men that were scrolled over because they didn't click with your click? As for me, I never liked Apple anyways.